When I cheated on my husband, I thought the worst thing that would happen was guilt. I expected arguments, distance, maybe even the end of our marriage. But what I didn't expect was the quiet change that settled over him. Something colder and sharper than anger. He didn't shout. He didn't break things. He simply looked at me with eyes that no longer saw me as his wife, only as someone who had betrayed him. For the first few weeks, he barely spoke. He moved around the house like a shadow, responding only when necessary. I tried to apologize, to explain, to cry, but every word bounced off him like rain hitting stone. I thought he needed time, and I was willing to give it. I had broken something precious. I knew that. What I didn't know was that he was building something else in the silence, something darker. Slowly, he started becoming attentive again, but not in the way I hoped. He began asking where I was going, what time I'd return, who I was calling, why I took so long in the grocery store. He checked my phone every night, scrolling through messages as if hunting for proof that I could break again. His questions weren't loud, but they were sharp. Each one felt like a reminder of the woman I had been, not the woman I was trying to become. At first, I accepted it. I thought his controlling behavior was temporary, a reaction grounded in pain. I told myself that if I endured it, eventually he would forgive me. Eventually he would come close again. But the distance between us only grew deeper, like a river widening slowly with each passing week. He no longer touched me, not accidentally, not affectionately, not intimately. Every time I reached for his hand, he pulled away as if my skin burned him. But he demanded updates about my day as though he owned every minute of it. The contradiction confused me. How could he want to control me so completely, and yet refuse to even sit beside me on the couch? One night, I finally asked him why he wouldn't sleep in our bed. He didn't shout. He simply said, "The bed is for someone I trust." The words hit harder than any argument could. I wanted to scream that I was trying, that I regretted everything. But the moment I started crying, he walked away, leaving me alone with my guilt and the sound of the bedroom door clicking shut. Weeks turned into months. His coldness never softened, and his questions never stopped. Sometimes he would come home late without explanation, and when I asked gently where he had been, he would stare at me with a smirk, as if daring me to accuse him of anything. I realized then that the balance of our marriage had tipped completely. I wasn't his partner anymore. I was his cautionary tale. The worst part wasn't his anger, it was the indifference. He looked at me the way someone looks at a broken object they keep around only because throwing it away feels like too much effort. He never raised his voice, but the silence between us had weight, pressing into every corner of our home. One evening, I found him laughing on the phone, an easy, warm laugh I hadn't heard in years. When he saw me, he ended the call immediately. That was when something inside me cracked. Not because he was talking to someone else, but because he still had that version of himself inside him. And he chose not to share it with me anymore. I tried again to talk, to repair, to reach across the widening gap. But every time I apologized, he reminded me of my mistake, not with words, but with the way he guarded every part of his life. I wanted forgiveness so badly that I forgot something important. Forgiveness wasn't the same as control. It took me months to realize that my mistake had changed him, but his reaction had changed me too. I was no longer the woman who cheated, but I was living like someone who needed permission to breathe. I had lost my freedom, my confidence, even my sense of who I was. And then one morning, I woke up and understood the truth. He didn't want closeness, or healing, or even love. He wanted power he thought he deserved because I had hurt him. But punishment disguised as control wasn't forgiveness, and silence wasn't reconciliation. I stood up from the bed he refused to share and made a decision. I would not spend the rest of my life paying for a mistake I had already confessed and regretted. Even broken hearts deserve a chance to heal, mine included.